Welcome to Life Mastery for Women, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality with mind mastery, emotional management, and meditation. Welcome to today's podcast. Hey ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I am finding you toxic free. If you're not toxic free of the people in your life, then it is my intention that in today's episode I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. Now this may be a difficult podcast. I have been through a lot of relationships, let's say, that were toxic. And I will tell you this is my framework that I use to create happiness. So my ultimate goal with what I'm about to teach you, tell you, share with you is to create happiness. That's it. So I know that some of the conversation that I'm about to say will show up in a way or will land on you in possibly a way that says, there's no way I can do that. But I want to share with you that on the other side of dealing with toxic people is joy and happiness. Okay, so with at least just saying that, let us begin. I have had, now let's first start with the core, which is family members. And I've had a couple of family members that were in my life that were toxic. And what do I mean? Well, let's step back. Let's go back a little bit further. What is a toxic person? A toxic person is someone who, whether willingly or unwilling, like consciously or unconsciously, act in a way that brings negativity to your life. Now, this does not mean that somebody who just comes up to you and starts to complain about things or starts to talk in a way that upsets you, that's not necessarily it. You know, because I can come in and complain about the traffic or complain about my day or complain about something or whatever. That doesn't make me a toxic person. That just makes me trying to process my emotions. So let's try to separate what is a toxic person versus someone who's acting maybe in a negative way at that moment, but generally creates a positive experience with you. Sometimes this is someone who talks one way to you when they're with you and talks a completely different way behind your back. And you find out that they are really not your friend, but maybe they're using the things that you tell them in a way to hurt you or gossip about you or complain about you. Then there are people who are manipulative, that are very nice and upfront to you and seem to be an honest person with integrity. And then lo and behold, on the other side, they aren't. Whether they are doing something behind your back, whether they are using you in a way to get gain in their own life. That's a toxic person. Another toxic person is someone who is generally a gossiper, a complainer. They don't want to see the other side of the coin. They don't want to improve. They don't want to change their lives. They constantly play the victim card. They are constantly a martyr, and they don't want to change themselves. They just want to change other people. Now, they can come across as someone who is needing help. They constantly need support. They constantly need help. They constantly need advice. And though you give it to them, they don't take it, ever. So I have had all of these people in my life. I have had, whether they were intimate relationships or family members or people that I work with. And I will tell you this, that this framework that I'm just going to share with you, and I want you to use it to help you to decipher if the person in your life is, in fact, a toxic person. Okay, so we've kind of defined some of those types of people. And if you're listening to this, you probably already have an idea of somebody in your life that is indeed toxic. So first, you decipher that, you identify, yep, that person is toxic, or it's just a person who doesn't bring me joy. They don't bring me joy, and I don't get any positive out of this engagement or this relationship that I'm in. Now, again, that is because of their consistent behavior, that they're not willing to change, adapt, make any kind of growth moves. They are continuously on this negative whirlwind of a path, okay? and you have decided, yes, this person is toxic, then the question to then ask is, what do I want to do about it? Now, I know that's a very vague question because part of us is, I want to help this person. Okay, then the next question is, if that is your answer, I want to help this person, because that is something that's very common of us to want to help. I keep hearing you complain, I keep hearing you suffer, and I want to help you. Let me ask you this. Do they want help? Do they look like they are interested in changing in any way to make a difference in their lives? Are they doing the suggestions? Are they actively seeking assistance to propel their lives forward? Or are they just complaining or manipulating, or they don't even see that they have a problem? If they don't see that they have a problem, then it's going to be really difficult for you to help them to shift. If they see that they have a problem, but they can stop any time and they just choose not to, it is going to be difficult for you to help them shift. The last one is, if they know they have a problem and they want help for it, they will be actively making changes. Those are the easiest people to work with. They aren't toxic, they are growing. There's a difference. So once you get to the place where you ask yourself, what do I want to do? And you say something like, I want to help, then you can see those steps. And you can decipher where they are in their journey, and you can send them some compassion. Now, if you want to help them, but yet they don't want your help, you have to ask another question. What can I do right now to help myself? What can I do right now to help myself? For me, what I had to do was distance myself from the person. Now, I would communicate this with them. I would say, I would not call them names. I would not criticize. I would just say, I wanted to help you. You don't appear to want help. Now, this is a very blunt way. I'm very blunt in my communication. Now, you might have to soften it a little bit, communicate how you want to. But my overall message to them is, our relationship has grown to a place of negativity, and I would like to just take a break. I would like to take a break from our relationship. I wish you well, and I hope that you and I can be friends, or, whatever, we can be connected again in the future. And if you ever want me to support you or to help you when you are ready to change, when you are ready for growth, then please let me know. Now, typically this is going to fall on angry ears. I just want you to know that. After you lay down this law, create these boundaries, you walk away. You don't get sucked back into the story. You don't get sucked back into the negative downward spiral. Because remember the phrase, misery loves company. If misery doesn't have company, then misery can dissipate. If misery doesn't have the company, then misery can dissipate. They can stay miserable for the rest of their lives if they want to, if that's their choice. Happiness is a choice, and it's a choice every single day, every minute of the day. And when people are in this cloud of victimhood, this cloud of martyrism, which I don't know if martyrism is a word, but I'm definitely using it lately. And if they are in this cloud of martyrism, then it's really, really challenging to help them. And then all my help is this downward spiral to get down and to be in the slush with them. And I don't want to be in the slush with them, because my life, I want to be as happy and as joyful as possible. And yep, emotions, they show up all the time for us. And we slip back into reacting to the world, and I want to be proactive as best as I can. So that sometimes means cleaning out the people in my life that are not ready to move on, that are not ready for growth, that our relationship is not pleasant, or it hasn't been pleasant for a really long time. Now, I have ended personal, intimate relationships that were toxic, and it was hard. It was a hard move, but I did it for myself. If you are in a toxic relationship and you are having trouble deciding to leave the relationship or not, and and the flags are all there, and logically this is a move you should make. And if you're not making it easily, then that is because you do not have the confidence or the self-esteem or the self-love as a foundation to make this move. Okay? Then my next piece of action, my next suggestion is to be major focus on self-love. Major focus on self-love. When you can focus on self-love, then you are in a great place. In that process of loving yourself and caring for yourself, and I don't necessarily mean caring for yourself like eating well, exercise, and hygiene, which all of that is part of it, but when you actually care about your own emotional and physical and spiritual well-being. When you can do those things, you build a foundation of confidence. You build a foundation to stand on that allows you to create boundaries, that allows you to be in a space to not only create those boundaries, but stand by those boundaries. And when you create boundaries based on self-love, your relationships become deeper. They have deeper meaning. They have more fun, more happiness, more connection. Do your relationships still have some bumps in them? Of course they do, because we're people. But overall, when you stand back and you look at that relationship, you're like, overall, this relationship's positive. This relationship is amazing. This relationship we each offer each other things. So also know this is not about controlling other people. This is when you're in a relationship with somebody, there should be this somewhat equal give and take. I offer you in this relationship or friendship where you feel positive, and then you offer me whatever that I feel positive, rather than it's just about me and, it doesn't matter what you think and I'm positive because of I get to control you. Make sure you're not the toxic one in the relationship. Are you willing to grow? Are you willing to change? Or do you have to seek control over others? So now once you have moved into the space of self-care and self-love, that becomes your ultimate focus. I'm looking at this environment and had a phone call just recently, just now, about this person that I work with and how bad they are talking about me behind my back. And I thought we were friends. And hearing the points of attack from this person. Now, if this would have been several years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I would have gone directly to that person and confronted them. But instead, what I'm going to do is, first, I ask that question, can I help them? And the answer is no. They are in no place. They don't see that they're doing anything wrong. They are not in a place for me to coach or even have conversations with that. I was hoping that I could help shift their perspective on all these other things that they complain about. But I also know that I'm not stupid to understand that she's probably been complaining about me behind my back. And come to find out, that is true. So knowing that, then that makes it easier for me to continue to pull away. To ask the question, what do I want to do? What I want to do is I want to just go do the job and then be done. I don't want to have a friendship or a relationship with this person because of their toxicity. They don't want help, okay? They are in a place where they don't even know they have a problem. And we have talked at length about different perspectives, and I have tried different coaching techniques to try to help her see the other side of the coin that she's standing on, and she can't see it. So with this coin that she's standing on and she doesn't want help, there's nothing for me to do. Because what I'm asking myself right now is, what do I want to do? I do not want to enter or stay in a relationship with her. So I am creating my boundaries, and I am going to voice those boundaries with her. Okay? Then from there, I'm going to focus on self-love. I'm going to continue to feed and nourish my soul, my body, and my mind with positive things. I'm going to stand back and I'm going to look at my life and I'm going to say the things that she said about me are not true. I'm not going to believe them. I'm not going to even entertain the thought, because I know that what she is seeing is from poison perspective. And that's okay. That's just where she's at. That's how she chooses to live. That's fine with me. I have let family members go, and it wasn't even quite as toxic as this relationship is. Toxic, yes, but not as toxic as this relationship. So then I'm gonna move into that place of self-love. Okay. From here, I can decide now what is my action, because that's great, Jen, but I still have to work with this person. Or that's great, Jen, I'm married to this person, or this person is my son or my daughter. So I'm going to bring my energy closer to me as a protection, meaning that I'm not going to get sucked into the story. I'm not going to get sucked down into the rabbit hole of their dysfunction. So if the person lives with me, then I'm going to spend less time with them. And if I do, they live with you, if they're a family member and they live with you, then obviously you're spending time together. But I'm going to spend less of my energy getting sucked into their story. And she tells a story. Every time I turn around, she's complaining about somebody at work. And when you're with somebody like that, you have to understand, when you're not there, she's complaining about you too. Just kind of take that to heart, that is happening. So with that happening, and now I know for sure, I can now bring my energy closer. And what do I mean by that? Bringing my energy closer basically puts me in a state of protection. It puts my energy in a state of protection. And so it's kind of closing up. It's like, picture a flower that's in full bloom. It is susceptible to animals and bugs and disease. When it closes up at the end of the night, it is protecting itself. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I am closing myself off. I'm not sharing personal information with her anymore. I'm not sharing my business stuff with her anymore. I'm not sharing anything with her other than I'm going to work and I'm going to leave when I'm done working. Okay. So now I've created this boundary. If it continues, now my next step is, do I want to do anything further? Well, in my situation, I could go to the boss, but the boss isn't much of a leader. She's not going to do anything about it. I could go to her so she knows. And if I decide to quit this job, then she's going to know why I quit. And she's going to understand, that's fine. She can choose this other coworker over me. That's fine. But I'm going to take care of myself. My happiness is that important. Understand that. My happiness, my health, my emotional, my physical health are more important to me than this drama. Drama creates stress on the body because we're trying to solve problems that aren't ours. We're trying to solve situations that can't be solved. I am looking through the window to someone else's journey and I'm trying to help them in their struggle when they can't hear me. It's stressful. I'm going to worry about my own journey. I'm going to spend time in my own path figuring out my stuff, focusing on my energy, focusing on my life, and focusing on the things that make me happy. Because ultimately that is it. I can't control someone else. I can't. I don't want to anymore. I tried that. It doesn't work. Okay, so if you are doing that, please understand you are on a path of basically self-destruction. If you are trying to control another person, there's lots and lots of ways to find peace with all these situations. So then I decide, as it continues, do I want to stay? Do I want to stay in this relationship? Do I want to stay in this job? Do I want to stay? Now, that's going to create a lot of fear. And this is the hardest part that may trigger a lot of you, that this can create a lot of fear. I have left jobs where people have been toxic. It's a good possibility I'm going to leave this job as well. I have left relationships that have been toxic. I have let go of family members who are toxic. And I will tell you, I have let go of family members that were probably 10 years ago in a toxic relationship, and they are no different than they were 10 years ago. But the difference, I'm happier. And that makes a lot of difference if you ask me. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, no, wait a second. You are telling me that I have to let my daughter go. I have to let my husband go. I have to let my brother go. I have to leave this job that I've been at for 22 years because my boss is toxic, because my coworker is toxic. And I ask you, how important is your life, your happiness, or your health? Because to me, it's everything. Because here's the thing. If I stay in this relationship, how is my health going to be? Well, my health is already terrible. I'm constantly stressed out. My stomach is nervous. I gave myself a tumor in my stomach because of this relationship that I had. Okay? How do I change that? Now, there's lots and lots of ways. Energetically, you can shift your perspective. Energetically, my mom and my relationship was toxic. I decided that I didn't want to leave that relationship. I wanted to do something. So I jumped onto the energy and I moved energy, and now the relationship is amazing. But I also want you to understand, not everybody, even spiritually, wants help. I was not 100% successful with another relationship that is also toxic. So, do I promote this? Yes, 100%. Did it work for me? Yes, it worked for me 100% in that relationship. But maybe what's not working is, maybe I don't want this other relationship to work. Maybe because I know that if I energetically work that relationship, that it might not come back 100% like it was. And I'm afraid of the change. I'm working through my own spiritual journey, right? So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to do the relationship? Or should I just leave? Should I just go? Should I just see what happens? Some relationships you just have to let go of. Or you can certainly try the energy work, because it did work. It worked absolutely 100% wonderfully for my relationship with my mom. It was amazing. It really was. And do I promote it? Yes, I do. And would I suggest it? Sure, I would. Yes, absolutely. But it's got to feel right to you. It's got to feel right. And it felt right with my mom. It felt like the right thing to do. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's been too much pain. Sometimes there's been too much manipulation, too much hurt, too much past. Maybe the thing that happened was too big, too great, that I don't want to get back into a relationship with this person. Sometimes it's too painful. I'm just going to quit. It's okay. Whatever decision that is right for you is right for you. I recently had a client ask me about a toxic relationship, and they asked me if they list all of the reasons why this relationship is toxic, and then she asked me if she should get back together with that person. Well, it's like watching a bad movie. You're like, well, no, of course not. Of course you should not get back together with that person. But you have to let people, as a coach, it is my job not to tell you what to do. I can share my story with you. I can share what I did or what my suggestion might be, but it's up to you to listen to what I'm suggesting and see if it resonates with you, because it might not. It might not resonate with you. And if it doesn't, that's okay. And I'm okay with it. You know, I do use words like you have to and you need to and you should. And I don't mean it that way. It's just the way I talk. I really I'd be a little bit less direct like that. But this is what I did. And on the other side, I am so much happier and calmer and healthier. And I just feel good in my body. I'm confident. I'm empowered. I set boundaries. I communicate those boundaries. Do I do things that are wrong or that upset other people? Yes, of course. Do I have emotional baggage that still shows up? Yes, I do. I'm still human. But I will tell you this. I am not in a naive space anymore that allows other people to walk over me or to walk on me, however you say that. Walk all over me. That's what I mean. And I can set boundaries, so I feel confident in my relationships now. And I'm okay to let relationships go after I've tried to help them. I have worked a lot of angles in this work environment that I have, and it's not worked. And so then I have to let that go. And I can do some energy work and see if it shifts things. And then there's part of me that's like, but do I want to? Do I want to put in that kind of effort? And that's only a question that you can answer. And so then I ask you, again, what is your life and your health and your happiness worth to you? If you liked this episode and you look forward to future episodes and are really looking for a community to help support you with implementing the tools that we're talking about in this podcast, please consider joining our online sister community called Lady Rising on Facebook, where we focus on that spiritual support and connection, just like in today's episode. I hope you'll join us. Go to Facebook, type in Lady Rising, and tell me you came in through the podcast.